news about P. Diddy finally in federal custody. He was denied bail. It's finally happened. He's now in custody. Probably gonna be in jail probably for the foreseeable future and probably maybe forever. The way things are looking right now. With his case, and look, there's so much of this case that this tip of the iceberg feels like right now. I'm gonna play before we set up the conversation. Let me play the. Hold on, I'm sorry about that. Let me play the U.S. attorney reading off the charges that Diddy is accused of here. If I can bring up the screen. All right, you see it there? You see that?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. Here's the. I think this is what's his face? I don't know his name. Oh no, what does matter? His
Sean Combs stood in Times Square and was handed a key to New York City. Today, he's been indicted and will face justice in the Southern District of New York. Today, I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution. The indictment alleges that between at least 2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. This office is determined to investigate and prosecute anyone who engages in sex trafficking, no matter how powerful or wealthy or famous you may be. No one should doubt our commitment on that.
Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot to take in there. Obviously, he knew he was in a lot of trouble. Now, the reason why we're doing 2 also because we did a podcast back. It might have been April. I'm not sure what month it was, but it was definitely over during the spring. And when a lot of this stuff started coming out, the Cassie situation with the video, okay, with the settlement, and then the rumors about the raids on this house in Miami and New York too. Was it both in Miami and New York? Was it Miami and
definitely no LA and Miami.
Sorry, in LA. And all that. We did a podcast. I mean, and on that podcast, we actually discuss in wide deeper. By the way, there's a clip of that episode about the Diddy situation that you and I did on my YouTube page at youtube.com/EarnestChristian. You can check it out in the clip section of the on my YouTube page. And you laid out a lot of what I didn't know because I was never really a really big Diddy guy even back in the day. I've always felt that he's always been a shady character. And we're talking about 1997, 1998, 1999. I've always had the opinion that a lot of Biggie's murder, I'm not saying that he did it, but he was somewhat involved. That's always been my opinion for the last 25 plus years. And then you hear these things, and remember the charges, he's innocent to proven guilty. You hear these things that, that he's being charged of. And it's far more wide ranging, far worse than I thought that we were getting back in March and April when all this started to really, circulate. So, Dane Blanco, you are very familiar with this case. You, again, the last episode, you went in on the details and things that has been alleged for years, and some things have been on record. So, your thoughts on where we're at now with this situation? Again, he's denied bail. So, your thoughts on the whole situation?
Whew. First and foremost, shout out to Randy J. Cruz. It's the Game Podcast. Please support your boy. We do the thing over there Wednesdays. Check us out. And it'll be a great time. Trust me. We talk about a lot of things, obviously, with sports and other things that require real good thought. Having stated that, Sean Combs is who we're talking about. That's what I'm going to call him from this point forward, Sean Combs. I grew up with Sean Combs, and I've watched Sean Combs. Interesting enough, I've watched Sean Combs win awards and do things in the hip hop world that were great. And then right next to that, I watched accusations against this man, multiple accusations against this man, referencing domestic violence, referencing threats, referencing bribery, referencing these words that were used during this the gentleman's the DA, these words that were being used and the charges that he was given. It's not surprising based on his previous behavior.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate that we have some men, some, not all, not many, some, that feel that Diddy is being overly prosecuted. That
Wait,
they feel.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised, but that's really a thing. I haven't seen it.
Some. No. You take your time. This is ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Denny Blanco here. You may not have been present during the OJ trial. This is going to be the modern day OJ trial. If it goes to trial, maybe Diddy takes a plea. Who knows? I don't know. But the concept of what we're talking about today is, yes, there are some men. Well, let me just the defense that Sean Combs's lawyer brought up was, if these folks wanted to be there, that's the point. Well, you have to understand, guys, folks that think that these people wanted to be there. Question to you, these folks I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Question to you: if you were invited to a party with someone, if you were invited to a party and you got to that party, and all of a sudden the door closed behind you, you didn't have your cell phone, and you tried to leave and you couldn't, how would you feel?
Right.
Man or woman.
Right.
How would you feel? Now, if I read the indictment, I read the indictment. I read Dawn Richards' lawsuit, and I read Cassie's civil suit, and I read Cassie's civil suit, Dawn Richards and Cassie's civil suit. And it's sickening. It's disturbing. I don't have enough negative adjectives to throw at Mr. Sean Combs, because we've been here before. We've had questions about this man for a very long time. So I'm not surprised, and I do not think, just to pass it back to you so we can have a back and forth.
Sure, no problem.
I do not think he wants to have this trial go all the way through, because if he does, I think they mentioned it, and obviously folks can confirm. I'm not perfect, but I think Cassie's on the witness list. So if he paid to have the concept of him paying not to have the information come out, and it comes out anyway, and then it gets criminally indicted, and then now she has to come on the stand and then talk about what she was already paid to not talk about. Oh my goodness.
It's so true. This feels very thorough. Like, to me, it almost feels like he has to plead guilty to some of these charges, because I feel like, look, I'm not saying I know anything and whatever, but when you read the indictment, when you read the entire thing, I didn't read the entire thing, but this the information I'm getting from people also that are very knowledgeable in the situation, it's very thorough. It's very precise.
It's a pull from Cassie's particular indictment. So she's gonna, that's why
they didn't rush this. Like, we've been hearing about these things for about a year, a little less than a year, at the forefront. The raids, was that they raided and they arrested them like 2 days later or 3 days later. They waited six months. These guys are paid to do this, to thoroughly check these things. This is a high profile case. They don't want to fuck this up.
The timeline coincide beginning of, you're talking about the beginning of spring all the way through. So beginning of spring, you got this conversation about Diddy giving out royalties back to his team.
Yes.
Coercion. Then you fast forward to conversations about Cassie going to him and saying, hey, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to, bring up all this information. And Diddy saying, it's a shakedown. I'm not doing it. Nothing ever happened. Fast forward, the information drops, the civil suit drops, he settles
immediately. Not even a couple days. The very next day.
Yeah. you have to understand the federal, based on the timeline, the federal boys, the alphabet boys, they obviously spoke to her, got that information. Then fast forward a little bit further, you got the raids on his houses, specifically on specific houses. You got safes opened up, you got things being looked at, and also an update.
Baby oils, we got that oil. Wait, was it baby oils?
1,000 baby oils. Here's what, you know what? Minus the baby oils, minus the scratched off AK-47s that they found.
Right.
Minus all that. There was a mention of, obviously, Diddy's trying to get out with bail, and obviously he was denied bail 2 times.
Right.
Second time, they're mentioning Epstein with Diddy in the same sentence.
Really? Well, wait, not Epstein himself being involved with things? Or
no,
just
not involved, but the concept of
comparison, right?
The concept.
Yeah. I always assumed that. Yeah, I always assumed that.
Him using a honeypot, from what they allege, using a honeypot. Hey, come party with me, but behind the scenes, there are cameras everywhere. He puts you in difficult positions. You're thinking you're free. And then also you have to understand there are men on camera also to touch this, because this story can go so many ways. There are men on camera discussing, yes, there were drinks that were
drugged,
that were spiked,
right,
and passed around purposefully in order to do these crimes.
Right.
I'm like, bro, you're an accessory. You're an accessory.
Yes.
When you say that, do you understand? And I'm sitting back listening and every word. Sidebar, another situation I'd like to bring on the table, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
I was speaking to my brother, and I said, bro, let me ask you a question. We're at dinner with our significant others, maybe 6 of us. So we're all at dinner. We're all eating. What would you do if you saw someone at the same table punch their girl in the stomach, their lady, their significant other in the stomach? What would you do?
Just randomly do it. No reason, just randomly. Yeah, I'll probably get up and probably punch him back.
You may punch him back. My brother said he would be like, my brother mentioned he would say, what the hell is going on? Why did you do that?
There'll be a reaction.
Me personally, let me make this PC, please. Let me make this PC, please. I would clean, just to clean it up. I would address this man in the most vulgar words I possibly would address him, and say, "What the F are you doing? I'm not staying here. This is crazy. Who are you?
Mm-hmm.
Dinner over."
Yeah.
But there's been conversations about Sean Combs being at a dinner, allegedly, with certain individuals, and an incident happening. They're alleging is Cassie, and no one batted an eye.
And given what we saw in that video, why I easy to assume that he's done more of that. That's the part what we saw in the videos. That's what's the norm.
The other side of this as well. So much is a big spider web. The other side as well. There were people. Shout out to you. You know who you are. I'm sure I don't have names. I'm sure I don't have correct names, right?
Right.
But shout out to you, the people that tried to say something and it fell on deaf ears. Shout out to you, those that either left, tried to speak to Cassie, tried to attempt to intervene.
Do we know anybody publicly that we know name wise that's out there?
When you see, and I don't want to say these names because it's difficult, because these folks, some folks that have come up have been former bodyguards of Sean Combs.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for me to mention the person's name, because on the other side of that, it's you were getting paid by this man. You didn't immediately quit. I don't know situational timeline. So I'm going to give grace where grace is due and not mention, this person. But there were other, when they mentioned a situation where a gentleman at the hotel where the incident happened, that's on video that everybody saw. Guy was like, they approached him. They said, hey, here's a stack of money. don't report. And he was like, F your money. I don't need your money. And he reported it to the higher ups.
Right.
He didn't know the higher ups was already spoken to. So in this situation, if you work at a hotel and you see that happen and you want this guy to be served, you want this guy to actually have some justice handed to him. But it seems as if the tape disappeared and everybody has amnesia. What do? Go to the police with something that you can't prove? Go to the FBI that's something that you can't prove? You're stuck. Right. You can't do anything. So when you talk about the tenure of how long this is going on, 30 years, understand 20 to 30 people that orchestrate this particular quote unquote RICO sexual trafficking. It takes more than one. Now, mind you, if you look at the Sylvester R. Kelly situation, I always thought more than one people, more than him, he got obviously indicted and convicted, but I thought other folks were involved as well because it took more than him.
Yeah.
Overall,
and that can't be a one-man wrecking crew. That's got to be a team of people doing that. You can't do it with one person.
So you got people
for so long, also too.
30 years. So you got people, obviously, in the Cassie indictment. When you read it, you got people. She mentions people saying, "Hey, this person said I couldn't leave. This person said when I tried to leave, like, hey, coerce me in coming back."
Yeah,
and it's through a third party. It's never directly through him. So I once again, if this goes, obviously it's going to go to trial, and I clearly I wouldn't imagine why there wouldn't be a conversation of a plea of some sort where they knock off certain charges and just stick to one or two, and he plead to that and keep it pushing, because there's too much evidence of criminality, if that makes sense.
Right. No, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So he trying to negotiate a $50 million bail, was instantly denied, and then he went for appeal yesterday, instantly denied. Yeah, this is fucking bad.
He's on tape, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You mentioned the feds, 99.4% conviction rate. Hallelujah, praise Jesus. 99.4% conviction rate. He's on tape. They got him wiretapped. They got him wiretapped. When they say coercion, bribery, who did he bribe? You have to ask those questions, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. And I think he was trying to bribe, trying to silence a lot of folks because they know. They know this is a man that likes to throw things at women, likes to set up things, get angry at people, kick people, punch people, direct people to do heinous things. If that's the word. It's sad.
How old are his kids?
Oh, I mean, I could look that up. Interesting enough.
What range are they? I'm sure some adults now, right?
Yeah, you have adults, and then you have teenagers, college kids. But
those are real victims. I mean, outside the actual victims, those the other victims are the kids also too, have to deal with this shit.
Daughters. Nobody, again, also pay attention. Let's pay attention to, if we may, those that spoke out about the Will Smith slap and then acquired about Diddy. Let's pay attention to those that talk about, that are silent, that Diddy is actually being indicted. Let's pay attention to who's silent. Because he's had so many friends over the years.
But the Will Smith, I'm trying. What's the correlation with the Will Smith and the?
You have a lot of celebrities saying that Will Smith was terrible for what he did to Chris Rock on television.
Right.
What
was your opinion on that? Was it terrible he did?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, it was terrible. But for you to be a celebrity and try to throw dirt on your other celebrity, friend, you could have just not said anything. But yeah. Me on the other side of it, yeah, sure, it was a terrible situation. But now, because again, Diddy's 30 years. You got Oprah, you got multiple of names that are Diddy was the way, and now it's silent. Shout out to Wendy Williams. She's been saying this man is not who he
really
you think he is for a very, very long time.
I mean, like I said, he's always right. He's always been, to me. Look, I'm not even near that world. I never was part of that world and all that. I've always felt that guy was shady. That guy always gave me the schemes. It's just it's one of those things. I didn't have any proof. I didn't think we like this bad, but I always felt this guy was kind of not a fan.
Yeah, everything. And then you mentioned Biggie. If you do your research, go online and you do a deep dive. I've done deep dives, many of sources, because you can't just really come to a conclusion with just one source. I look at like 30, 40 sources.
You got to. It's this day and age too. You got to.
Yeah, I looked at 30 and 40 sources just to get an idea of who's saying what, because you got obviously many conspiracies out there.
Of course.
But
and you'll see many more in this case as it goes forward.
Very much so. But for me, it was at the very least, a dereliction of duty for Sean Combs to allow his artists during that heightened time of a war between two coasts, quote unquote, East Coast, West, quote unquote.
Right.
It was a dereliction of duty for him to allow Biggie to be out there with minimal security, so that you have to ask yourself why. That's a fair question. Your man is limping. Not even, I mean, his name is Biggie, right? So he's already big, right? But he broke his leg. It's a target, easy target. You don't, from everything that you research, you find out that it just wasn't a fair defensive strategy for Biggie. So there are a lot of more questions than answers when it comes to Sean Combs' involvement
with that situation.
So there are questions he cannot answer. He's been caught up in many lies. So that, in terms of Biggie, that's unfortunately we probably will never have an actual confirmed answer.
Is it possible that through all this investigation, the things we find out as we move forward to a trial and all that we might find some tidbits of what could have happened
to Biggie,
what involvement with Biggie,
or Tupac,
just the shooting,
or Tupac,
or even Tupac. If we go that further, yeah.
If he takes a plea and he maybe gets a proffer, possibly, but yeah,
because everything from what I understand, the investigation covers 2008 to present, right? So I mean, unless you're finding things third hearsay or while you're investigating, this kind of pops up out of nowhere. Yeah, probably not going to find anything substantial related to Biggie and Tupac that happened 12 years prior, right?
No, you're not. Say. Yeah, they're going to stick to that particular timeline. Right. And once again, it's when you have an understanding of the information information in the background that you can look up. Biggie was under surveillance.
Yeah,
in LA. I'm not going to say by who, but he was under surveillance by them boys. He was under not street. I'm talking about government boys.
All right. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Like, is it just legit people or people like that pretend to be legit?
I mean, alphabet boys.
Okay. Yes.
Alphabet boys is watching him. Mm-hmm. There's an alphabet agent that's on record online stating, yes, there's some questions that LAPD can't answer. There's some questions that the feds want to ask, but they can't because there's been so much dipping and dodging when it comes to the Tupac and Biggie. So in terms of where we're at now, it's karma. Sean Combs has messed up so many people.
That's many bridges too.
Burned so many bridges, messed up so many people as a you have to understand the landscape of what he's done over the years, whether it's understanding that Bad Boy it actually started with Craig Mack, and Biggie came along, and then it was like, F you, Craig Mack, move out the way. And then he was toast. Nothing with him. Then you have Mace there for a little bit. He leaves with his problems. Multiple, obviously, his was a gumbo of problems.
Yeah.
Then you have Black Rob. Black Rob brought G Dep to Diddy to sign G Dep, kind of like business deal. Like, okay, I'm signing G Dep. I'm signing. No, Diddy stole him from G Dep. Diddy stole G Dep from Black Rob.
It's a pattern.
Then you have the shooting with Shine.
Of course,
the victims
the big one. That's one with J-Lo was
there. You go. Yeah. And you have that. I didn't even talk about Steve Stout's bottle whipping. Boop, boop. I didn't even talk about that. But then you have the shooting in New York, where you have the victim saying, "I saw both Shine and Sean Combs let off." That's what she said on video. You can look it up. That's what she said. And it got swept under the rug then. Real quick, J-Lo said, "I'm not messing with this man anymore. Excuse me. I'm moving forward." And you fast forward to rumors.
Yep.
You fast forward to rumors with either Drake, rumors with J. Cole, allegedly, rumors about Wale, allegedly, rumors about Kid Cudi, allegedly. Diddy, why do you always go around? Why are people saying that you're doing these things, or people alleging that you're doing these things? Why?
Yeah.
You have to ask yourself after a while. It's like
always around drama. Always on drama. At a simple level, around drama all the time. It's something that's,
Sir.
Again, that's why I always said, Stevie.
Sir, you're 40. Why do you need to date a 19-year-old Cassie?
Because he can.
Because he can. Right? But my brother, you're 50. Why do you need to still have these quote unquote, you know what they are? The parties? 50. Mm-hmm. And then, people are like, listen.
What do they call them?
The freak offs. You have people saying, hey, there are people in this world that, you get to a certain level, you try to, the rich folks, the billionaires, they try to expand to the heightened, because they have the money, they take their eroticism to another level, if that makes sense, right? Because they can literally get everything. It's literally like when you literally have every particular food is just like, okay, I need to take it to another level. I need to eat different types of foods in order to satisfy what I satisfy, if that makes sense.
This is crazy. Like, so I'm reading off the freak offs. Let me read a quick thing about the freak offs. These freak offs were quote unquote elaborate and produced sex performances, quote unquote, and were highly organized parties, prosecutors said. Mr. Combs' associates allegedly booked hotel suites, recruited sex workers, and distributed drugs, including cocaine, methamphetamine, and oxycodone, to coerce partygoers into sex and keep them, quote unquote, obedient. Jesus Christ, man.
He's the director of the party, okay? And you bring around you just bring in hedonism, right?
Yeah.
You bring in hedonism, and the concept is, which is interesting, guys and gals, it's interesting. If I agree to go to a party, do you think I can't say no at any time of the party to leave? I'll ask the question again slowly for those that may have missed my question.
Right.
If I go to a party and I'm invited to a party, I'm privileged enough to be invited to any party. It doesn't matter how high privilege it is, whether it's literally tuxedo, black tie affair, to down to a bar in the jungle, wherever you want to call it.
Right.
When is there a time I can't say? When is there a time where I can't leave? During that,
you can always leave.
Okay, EJ, you make a valid point. You can always leave, but what if you can't? What if you can't?
What scenarios? What would be the scenarios that you couldn't leave?
You get to said party at a house, and the door closes behind you. You get to said party. Excuse me. You get to said party at the house. They take your phone. They close the door behind you.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to leave for 3 days.
That's kidnapping, of course.
Oh, wait. Kidnapping. Yes.
Check.
Coercion.
Check.
Yes. 3 days. For 3 days, you're down. No, you'll get your phone in 3 days. But maybe I wanted to stay for a day. Maybe I want to stay for an hour. No. 3 days. You gonna get the IV drip. You gonna get the IV drip after the 3 days to recover from all the fluids you've drained.
And
from exercising.
I feel like all this for Diddy was probably a kink. All this.
Well,
he did it because he could, and he got away with it for so long as he did.
When you're doing it for 30 years and you're not getting you're not having, any consequences.
Yeah.
Who's to stop you?
Yeah.
All along, it's funny too. This is just not funny, but in terms of it's interesting that it's a Spider-Man meme between Suge and Diddy.
Yeah.
No, you're the devil. No, you're the devil. No, EJ. No, you're the devil.
Yep.
It's a Spider-Man meme. Suge is sitting there from jail doing podcasts.
Do you think
Suge Knight?
Do you think Suge Knight actually probably was one of the people that ratted him out, or probably at least directed him in that? I don't know.
Who's to say? Obviously, once again, when the feds want you, they are very, very
persuasive.
They persuasive and use unlimited amount of resources to get what they want. If they don't want you, great. It's when you're not on their radar, it's phenomenal. Great. Yeah. But when they want you, oh yeah. We're gonna talk to the moms. We're gonna talk to the housekeeper. We're gonna talk to how far back? 10 years? No problem. We're gonna track down the stewardess he flew with. We're gonna track down the person. So the conversations about this video with Cassie, and then you spearhead all these conversations with hotel staff. You spearhead conversations with former accusers. You have text messages of an accuser text messaging Sean Combs saying, the Cassie indictment is exactly what happened to me. And I'm triggered. This is not a one-off.
Not only that, when I read the affidavit and all that stuff, I read the indictment, and when I read all the stuff's going on with the charges and what he's been charged for, and then seeing the bail get immediately not even revoked, it's like denied twice, even in the appeals court immediately. To me, and obviously we got to go through trial to see this, but this is the optics I get from this is that we have as close to a smoking gun as without saying it. So all that matters now is whether or not he pleads guilty or not guilty, which that's massive, to be honest with you, because we see if he pleads guilty, which charges he pleads guilty for, number one. Number two, if he does plead guilty to certain charges, the why this is where the story for me gets even more interesting now. It's not even about Diddy anymore for me now. Who else is involved? What other names are potentially involved? Because he had connections with politicians and
no.
We mean no.
No.
What do you mean?
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
See what happened to Jeffrey Epstein, right? The conversation during the conversation, depending on who you speak to, Jeffrey Epstein conspiracy, if you will, is he had some footage of some people, some prominent people in difficult in some difficult situations. That was the alleged conversation. it is alleged that Sean Combs has some people in the entertainment industry.
Yes.
High up. There is conversations with folks high up in the entertainment industry, executives, like, wait a minute, hold on. I did go to that party. I don't remember what happened. Or maybe I did something and it's going to look bad. So Sean Combs literally can either say, I'm more than likely which is going to happen. I'm going to plead I'm looking at the charges. I'm like, what are you going to plead to? Like, what? There's nothing really you should plead to, because it's all right there with the evidence currently that they have. And let's be clear, they didn't even put out everything that they had. They didn't even put out the draw 4 yet. They didn't put out the reverse. They didn't put out none of that yet. You have to understand, there's more coming. There's more coming, minus the witnesses that are about to take the stand. There's more coming. You have PR people quitting in his circle, folks that were riding with him even through the tape, the Cassie tape. They're like, okay, now I have to go. Now, really? Now you want to go? Now that he's indicted, you want to go? Really? Okay, fine. But they're going.
Suspect as fuck, by the way, when you do that, yeah.
So if I'm a celebrity and I've gone to these parties, like Cat Williams says, you got to tell them no.
Yo, what Cat Williams, I mean, that chat with Shay in January, I don't know if it was purposely or not, but it sparked a lot of shit, man.
Cat Williams, new name, Cat Williams, the Oracle. Cat Williams, the Oracle. Your man sat back and said a line. And at the time, it was like cute, funny, you know.
Yep.
But the words he used specifically, big D deviants. It's up for them. How did he know? How did he know? How did he know? And coercion. I have a tape of you. I'm Sean Combs. I have a tape of you. You're going to do what I want for as long as I want, or else I'll blackball you. You won't have a career. I'll embarrass you.
Yeah.
Allegedly, I'll make you disappear. Allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who I am? These are all words that are going to be coming up in this trial. I don't know about you, EJ. But if this is actually, how do you say, broadcasted?
Well, streaming live.
If it's broadcasted, I'm not missing any day. None. I need to see every particular part of this trial. I must, because this guy.
This is OJ level. This is OJ level. Maybe bigger. Maybe
it's OJ level, but the karma once again. He's going to see it, and I want to see the defense. What the defense is going to say? Oh yeah, she's just mad because her career didn't go well. Really? Is that what you're going to pull?
Some video getting slapped around, man. Sorry, you lost. You lost a lot of credibility there when you have a video proving of her getting slapped around by.
How are you going to defend your client when there's a video
exactly
in the zeitgeist of him assaulting, beating? Please, EJ.
And after denying it. Just saying. Denying it. That never happened.
And then saying, and then saying, it did, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sean.
She's full of shit, I think.
Sean.
She's full of shit.
Sean, it's the reckoning. It's the reckoning. Now you're at MDC.
And we will be following this story, through and through. Like I said, you're the same way too. I didn't think I'd be as honestly, Denny, I didn't think I'd be as intrigued or as interested in the story even then. But now I'm like, yeah, give me some of this. And look, And I say that someone, even as someone that creates content, I do this, all the time. But I don't care about Diddy. I've never cared about Diddy. I never wasn't really a fan of his music, a couple songs here and there, but not really, whatever. I can take him, leave him. But I'll say it again. To me, the most interesting part of the story isn't about Diddy anymore. It's the potential wide-ranging potential of where the story can go. Who else is involved in these things? Because he's so connected to not just entertainers, not just singers, not just actors, politicians too.
You mentioned again, you say who's connected. That's why executives are going crazy, because it's just like, oh, so we can depose executive so and so,
right?
Have him come in and ask him, were you there during the assault on so and so? And have them say yes or no under oath and lie. Chances are, if they can't plead the fifth because it's not incriminating themselves, they didn't do the freaking crime. They're witnesses to the crime, to an alleged assault. Excuse me, not a crime, to alleged assault. But you're there. It's like, oh yeah, they're saying there were more 50 plus witnesses for some of his dirt. So these guys and gals are going to go up on the stand and say, yeah, Diddy did this. Yeah, Diddy threw something at me. Yeah, Diddy said he would kill me. Diddy said he allegedly. These are all alleged. This is what possibly could happen on that stand. Once again, the tape, his history, you say from 2008 on, sure, but it still hit him as a person. So we're able to, as a government, go through his whole entire history of him as a man.
Right.
It doesn't stop at 2008.
Prediction number one: does Diddy make it to trial? First off, does he make it to trial?
Oh man, that's a great question, EJ. Because I've been racking myself. I'm like, does he take a plea early?
Yeah. So what? So the arraignment, have they set an arraignment date yet?
They haven't. I don't think so.
And I think I know why. Because it's so many charges. It's so complicated. I think they need to sift through all the charges, see what if they're potentially going to plead a guilty plea on some of these charges. They need to figure out which ones they can do it for. I mean,
but that's the conversation that's the conversation I'm having with myself and asking myself, is Sean Combs' lawyer saying, hey, big bro, I think you gotta look at a plea. Is that what is obviously your lawyer is going to suggest something, but if the client says, no, I'm going to trial, take it to trial, let's take it to trial, right? So it's going to be interesting to see in the next couple of days. Like I said, this is bigger than OJ every step of the way, because we need to understand, is he going to go to trial? And then if he's going to go to trial, all this information is going to come out, and how is he going to defend himself when there's an avalanche of evidence, video, witnesses, previous history. And folks are going to say, oh, it's not illegal to be a freak. No, it's not illegal to be a freak. It is illegal to hold somebody against their will. Yeah. It is illegal to hold somebody against their will and then use a position of power against a person. That is against the law, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
You can't do that. No matter what these folks you'll see online try to tell you, oh, they flew him out, they knew what it was, this, that. No. You guys need to understand the law and do some reading too. I think a lot of you guys are talking and not reading. A lot of you guys need to read.
No, people that's reacting, not take what's facts.
You have to read. Just stop thinking that they took a trip.
I hope Diddy makes it to trial. I hope he gets tried. I hope we find out everything, because the best way to stop these things is to clean the mess, is to dig in and clean dirt out. You do that.
It's a new day. You're absolutely right. You want to clean the dirt. It's a new day, and since I would say in the past couple of years, it's been a situation where laws have been implemented. When you have the New York law that says you can, extends the time for when you can bring charges against your accusers. That's where you have now reckoning. where folks that thought that dirt would be swept under the rug.
Which is a good and bad thing. I think it's a good thing overall for the ones that do get hurt, but this also opens the door for a lot of really shady ass cases too. Also, so there's a kind of a catch-22 there somewhat. I have a lot of issues with that to some degree, but yeah, victims should be at least have a chance to have their voice be heard. Absolutely, no question.
If you're a victim, bring it to court and go from there. And if you take a swing at trying to get justice. And there are folks that are confused about young Miss Ventura asking for a payout. Criminally, it was too far gone for it to be a payout for her to actually bring him to charges when it comes to criminally, specifically with Cassie. The statute of limitations was gone with that, but not civilly. You have to understand these charges are RICO charges based on Cassie being a witness to him, Sean Combs, doing it to multiple victims.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, you think it's just Cassie. It's not just her. There are multiple victims. Right. So stop acting like
she's just a headliner.
She's the main witness, but there are multiple witnesses that they're going to whether they do or not. This is the federal government, 99.4%. 99.4% conviction rate. Guys.
Things don't get thinking.
Guys, shout out to Murder Inc. and them winning their case against the feds. That was really, really well done, and they paid a lot of money for that. They'll tell you. But this right here, when they don't want to give you bail,
even at $50 million, even at the clip of $50 million, yeah, that's a bad sign.
They're telling you we don't think it's not even a matter of leaving.
It's a flight risk, right?
It's not even a matter of you leaving and being a flight risk. No, we think you're going to go out and you're going to manipulate everything that's going to happen behind the scenes,
or kill yourself
through a third party. It's never through you; it's through a third party. So you have the power to blink, and someone will be able to do your bidding, right? So they're like, let's not even go there. Stay right here with us. Eat some cheese sandwiches from MDC, and wait for your trial. Whether your trial is in June, a year, 2 years. You may not ever be free again from this point on.
Yeah, I think OJ was when he was arrested, he was in jail the entire time. He was not free until after that trial was over. So yeah, I hope it makes a trial. I want to see everything. I mean, we'll be covering this on the podcast. I'll have you on here every so often, obviously, to discuss it. But yeah, this is gonna be a shit show. This is gonna be a shit show more than you realize.
Can't wait.
Again, it's more than just Diddy at this point. I think my
can't wait.
All right, exactly. All right. So last time you on the podcast.